everyone, Gannon here. Hope everyone is doing well. If you are American and you're celebrating Thanksgiving today, I wish you a very happy Thanksgiving and hope you're eating very well and having a good time watching Star Trek and spending time with your families. We're back again with another Star Trek Discovery review with the drop of Season 3, Episode 7, titled Unification 3. And if you remember in the last episode, a quick recap, the Discovery got an awesome futuristic refit along with an added letter to its name. Georgiou was having a lot of episodes where she was seeing repressed memories of what seemed like her son getting murdered or something. There was that Andorian who got his antennae chopped off, even though in Enterprise it was revealed that they grow back in little under a year, so I just hope that the Orion Syndicate cut them off within that year, or that's just rather lazy canon mistake right there. Michael Burnham disobeyed Saru big time and lost her position as number 1 in order to obtain the black box and the information necessary to find out the clues of the burn, and her and Booker's relationship was made more formal and concrete in the eyes of the viewer, making them a confirmed couple. Now, this week, they basically take all the shit that happened in the last episode that was a little bit, like, hey, Michael, what are you doing? Why are you behaving this way? And they repaired it. They definitely repaired it. In this episode, episode 7, we start off with Burnham confessing to herself and Tilly that she feels disconnected from the Discovery crew and that she's no longer confident that she has a place aboard Discovery like she once had. I believe that last episode I referred to her as future crazy Michael Burnham, but now I jokingly think she's just kind of 31st century emo Michael Burnham. Her and Tilly began to analyze the data found in the black box, and to me it always feels like Tilly brings Michael back into that crew dynamic almost effortlessly. I do wish Michael spent more time with Tilly, as I believe she's truly that element that makes her feel more grounded to the crew. Upon inspection, it is found that 3 ships were destroyed at 3 different times, indicating that they're somehow connected to an experiment referred to as SB-19. When conferring with Admiral Vance, it's learned that they can't access any information SB-19 because it was done on Vulcan, now named Navarre, as both the Romulans and the Vulcans share the planet, assumingly after the destruction of Romulus, and they even quote Spock's efforts to reunify the planet from The Next Generation, and how Romulans and Vulcans are basically branches of the same species, which is really cool and awesome to see. The look of happiness and just being proud springs into Michael's face when she hears of her brother's accomplishments hundreds of years into the future. Super gratifying to see, and I like how they're utilizing the lore here in this episode. Admiral Vance then tells them that Navarre/Vulcan left the Federation over 100 years ago, which is a little bit of a surprise since the Vulcans have been homies of the Federation for so long. They were literally one of the founders of the Federation, and they were the first contact species that met with Earth and Zefram Cochrane like so long ago. Admiral Vance tells them that SB-19 was basically an experiment to find an alternative to warp drive travel, in which the residents of Navarre deemed too dangerous to pursue. The Federation then pressed the matter, and when the burn occurred, the Vulcans had convinced themselves that the Federation had caused them to be the ones responsible for the burn. So it's the initial plan to utilize Commander Burnham, aka the sister of the great Spock, to reinstate diplomatic relations and to prove to Navarre that they weren't the ones responsible, and to acquire more information on the SB-19 project. Michael Burnham reminisces about Spock with clips from the previous season, and then watches a recorded video of Spock from the Next Generation episode Unification, where Ambassador Spock had originally started his efforts to reunify the Romulan and Vulcan people, and the computer stated that it was from a personal file of Jean-Luc Picard. And let me tell you, just hearing that man's name in a series like Discovery probably gave everyone a decent half-chub. Like, I definitely know that I got one. I love Michael's reactions to Spock's achievements. You could really see how proud she is of Spock and what he was trying to do. Smiles were so genuine and warm, and you learn that all this time, the whole year she was alone, she never once attempted to check up on Spock's files to see what he truly had become in the future. Then right after that super big bombshell, Saru then asks Ensign Tilly to become his #1 ensign to commanding officer. Because of her ability to cope with the whole time jump situation, and also because Tilly is pretty smart and awesome and supportive, and she has a great relationship with all the members of the crew. And it's been implied that one of her important goals is to have a command position in Starfleet. So, you know, things seem to be going great for Ensign Tilly. They then jump to Navarre, and we get to see Stamets comfortably use his new gel console to travel with the Spore Drive, and the new Discovery A is looking super awesome and sick, and the graphics for this jump made me really hype. It's also important to note that when the new Discovery utilizes its Spore Drive, that the separated nacelles, my new favorite feature of the refit, might I add, come together and are no longer separated when performing jumps. They jump to Navarre, where they're greeted by a handsome Vulcan woman named Tarina, who's the president of Navarre. They have what seems to be a nice introduction with Tarina as they introduce Michael as Spock's stepsister, which for some reason they believe like off-rip wholeheartedly. But then it quickly goes south, and Tarina sternly says that any information of SB-19 is off limits, and that the mere discussion of new evidence is sensitive information that could totally screw their efforts of reunification. She basically threatens to send them packing if they keep pressing her about it. Michael then pulls out her trump card and evokes the Ta-Ka-Un-Ket. Ta-Ka-Un-Ket. Hope I am saying that somewhat right. A traditional Vulcan practice that seeks to uncover deep truth. Burnham is essentially putting the president in a logical position she cannot avoid, which is super cool. Michael Burnham is going to undergo a hearing from the Science Administration, and it's learned that she is going to receive a Romulan advocate that's a member of the Qowat Milat, which is super freaking cool that they're making a reference to the badass Qowat Milat introduced in Picard, and even explain absolute candor. Despite my feeling about the season 1 of Picard and how I feel like they kind of made some mistakes and that it was a little bit weak, it did put a smile on my face to see them utilizing lore from it, as it was a Romulan-centric season. Tarina warns Michael she must be prepared for them to ruthlessly try to discredit her position, and that it's definitely not going to be easy for Michael to accomplish what she wants. But then again, they never make anything easy for Starfleet commanders. Then, oh shit, super big fucking bombshell. The Qowat Milat representative is actually Michael Burnham's mom. I was seriously not expecting that. It's learned her mother never made it back to Terra Elysium, and that she's been chilling as a Qowat Milat sister. And her and Michael have a little talk about her feeling lost aboard the Discovery, and implies and encourages her to be happy where she is, and also warns her of the difficulties of this trial. Saru does an excellent job talking behind the scenes to Tarina, further showing his competence as a Starfleet command officer, which is always great to see. They begin the ceremony, and you see a gong and torches that are very reminiscent of the TOS episode Amok Time, the episode where Spock experiences his Pon Farr ceremony. During the hearing, things get super freaking deep. Like, they get super deep when Burnham's mom starts straight spitting at her, where it not only becomes a race to convince the members of the hearing to trust Michael, but for Michael to trust herself and her place as a Federation officer among her true family, the Discovery crew. Michael Burnham's mother epically batters her with accusations in order to truly get the truth out of Michael. For her to practice absolute candor, and for her to see her true feelings about everything, like really everything. Such an awesome scene. I loved watching every moment of that shit. This episode was really freaking good. She talks about Spock at the hearing, and it gets super duper serious, and Michael proceeds to withdraw her request in the best interests of Navarre and leaves the room like a total boss, which moves everybody in the room, including me as a viewer. I really liked how she walked out of the room after declaring like, oh, actually, I don't want anything from you guys anymore except your trust. After a little talk with her mother in her quarters, talking about how she doesn't need to choose between who she was and what she is now. It's learned that Tarina secretly provides her with SB-19 data, and that Michael Burnham's mother is going to stay on Navarre, telling Michael she will always know when to find her. Then at the end of the episode, the entire bridge crew comes together to support Tilly and to make her commander of the Discovery. The amount of support she gets from her friends is awesome and heartwarming and just really good to see. Michael shows up and supports Tilly as well and tells her that she isn't leaving Discovery. Tilly then gives her first order as commanding officer to Michael, telling her to analyze the data, and it's really all happy and cheery. There's an ending scene where Saru talks with Tarina about joining the Federation, implying that they will in the future, and Burnham informs Booker of her decision to stay aboard Discovery, where they then tell each other that they both feel like home, meaning that they'll probably stay together aboard the Discovery. This episode ends with a cool shot of Booker's ship, cargo bay, panning out to the rest of the Discovery refit ship. Wow, guys, this episode was, like, really damned good. Awesome references to Picard and the Next Generation. The speeches about Spock and seeing him from the reunification episode was so cool and just enjoyable to see. Interactions between Burnham, Tilly, and the crew were really wholesome near the end and is just what I was looking for on Thanksgiving Day. And come on, people, Saru did an excellent job this episode, like, absolutely fire. Every word he spoke was that of a true diplomat. This episode easily gets an 8.5 out of 10 for me. The story, the visuals, and everything were just really stunning, stimulating, and I truly believe this was just a great episode of Star Trek. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, everyone. I'm going to be stuffing my face with delicious vegan roast, mashed potatoes and gravy in like 10 hours. So I'm looking forward to that. Hope everyone is having a wonderful day and a happy Thanksgiving if you are celebrating it. And with all that being said, live long and prosper, guys. I'm going to have to see you in the next one. Peace.